In this section, I'd like to talk a little bit about getting a sound out of the guitar and out of the amplifier. So I have a clean sound on the guitar right now, so it sounds something like this. And I have some various pickups on the guitar in which I can create different pickup combinations. If I use the treble or the rear pickup back here closest to the bridge of the guitar, that's going to give me the most treble and the highest output. And this is the pickup I would use mostly when playing rhythm guitar. When you're playing rock rhythm guitar, you're usually going to be using this back pickup, especially when playing with distortion. But right now I have a clean sound on the guitar and I just want to give you an idea of how that pickup sounds. I have some different controls here. On this particular model of guitar, I've had it set up so that I can split the coil in the back. You notice this pickup has two coils. That's called a humbucking pickup. So if I use both coils in the humbucking mode, I get this kind of a sound. And if I pull up on this volume knob right here, I can split the coil, so I'm using just one of these pickups to create a single coil sound. It's not exactly as a true single coil pickup might sound, but it's very close. A little less output, kind of a thinner sound, but a special sound. Put that back in, so I'm in humbucking mode. On this particular guitar, I have two other pickups. These are the size of single coil pickups, but it's kind of a trick. These are actually humbucking pickups. But if I use the front pickup, I'm going to get a warmer, softer sound. And when you play with a clean sound on the amplifier, this front pickup should always sound good, whether you're playing lead or rhythm. But in general, it's a softer sound, warmer, more bass. And then I have a middle pickup. I have a 5-way position switch here, so if I go from 1, 2, 3, there I am in the middle. Not as trebly as the back pickup, not as much output, not as bassy or warm as the front pickup. And then I can also get combinations. These two, or these two. On this particular guitar, I have it set up once again so I can split each of these coils. So if I have all single coil pickups, I can change the sound as well. Now I'm going to switch from the clean channel on the amplifier to what's known as a crunch channel. So not a full-on lead sounding distortion, but more of a bluesy rhythm distortion. It could sound something like this. So depending on what style of music you're playing, if you're playing AC/DC style, for example, you probably want to have a little bit less distortion than what I have now. So I can emulate that by simply turning the volume down on the guitar a little bit. In fact, a lot of the volume and the amount of distortion can be controlled in your fingers, not necessarily with the amplifier. So I can go from this, turn down the volume a little bit, maybe play a little softer. In fact, sometimes it's really nice to start off without having everything all the way up. That way you have some room to go somewhere. If everything is on 10, you've kind of hit the ceiling already. There's nowhere else to go. Now I'm going to step on the overdrive channel, so this will be more of a lead guitar sound. Should have more distortion, more sustain. I also have this set up with a little more high end. It's got more of a biting sound to it. Kind of more of a heavy metal sound. Then I have another fourth channel here. Step on that, and that'll give me the maximum amount of overdrive. So I'll leave it in this lead channel for now and talk a little bit about the other thing that I have on this guitar, which is a tremolo bar. Not all guitars have tremolo bars. A lot of Fender style guitars have tremolo bars, whereas Gibson style guitars have a fixed tailpiece. Now what the tremolo bar does is it allows you to take a string and you can lower the pitch of the string, or if you have it set up, which is known as a floating tremolo bar, you can also raise the pitch of the strings. My tremolo bar is set up only to lower the pitch of the strings, but I can create some sounds like this. If I take the low E string, dive down with the tremolo bar, you can create some pretty crazy sounds, or you can use it as a more subtle effect and use it as a more natural vibrato. It's a fun toy. Not necessary when playing guitar, but it can be a fun thing to mess around with. You can use a tremolo bar for playing single note lines, crazy noises, or even for playing chords. If I go back to a clean sound, it can be nice for chords as well. So there's a little bit about the guitar. In case you're wondering about strings in general when playing rock guitar, most players use either a 9 or a 10 gauge string. There's also a set that's in between 9s and 10s, which I have on this guitar. D'Addario makes them. I think some other companies make them as well, but they're 9.5s. So the high string is a 9.5. I like those. Not as thin as 9s, not quite as thick as 10s. Feels good. If you have a Gibson style guitar, the scale is shorter than on a Fender style guitar. So if you have a set of 10s on a Gibson style guitar, they can feel a little bit thinner or more slinky than if you had a set of 10s on a Fender style guitar. So it's all personal preference. If you get any thicker than a 10, you're gonna have strong fingers to bend. And if you go any thinner than a 9, you're not going to get a great sound, and the strings will probably feel too slinky when you're bending. But it's all personal preference and whatever you get used to. So there's a little bit about the guitar, about getting a sound from the amplifier. There's lots of different pedals out there you can use. A lot of it is experimentation, coming across something that sounds good to your ears, because if it sounds good, it is good. That's all you need to know.